Yo, what's up, you guys? It is Wednesday, December 3rd, and we are back with another TnS Daily review. So, jumping right into things, I do have my indicator set on 1 minute preset, spoiled setups, and session filter disabled. And we had a pre-market setup there, and this is the 929 candle. We actually had a pre-existing short right here, and this one did get TP, but it will not be counted because I don't count the ones that are already active at 9:30. Say we had a long somewhere down here that gets tapped into like right after 9:30 or 9:31 or whatever that was, untapped. That's when I would count it. But since this one was already active as 9:30, basically just gets the TP, it will not be counted as a trade. So moving on, we do have a lot of short setups up here, so keep that in mind. This one, of course, already played out, but we have another one up here. We had a long setup here that looks like it failed, so it's going to be trade number 1 as a loss. Okay, now moving on. You can see we actually tapped into this short setup that was already there from pre-market, and I do believe it gets stopped out over time, so I'm just going to mark out the stop losses for it. So both the stop losses there marked out. Just going to play it. And the TP for it is way down here, so you can see it does eventually get stopped out once we come all the way up here. Of course, there's a lot of subs in between. It's going to be trade number 2 as a loss. Once again, this short setup right here. So backing up to about right here, we have a short setup up here as well that does not get tagged in. I'm not sure why the TP, well, yes, the TP would have actually been here if it got tagged in, but it's trying to say that it got TP, which is not the case. So when we do come back to this entry, we're going to be looking for whatever candle taps the entry, because it's trying to say that it got TP already, but that's not the case because the entry never even got tagged. But we do come down for this long setup down here, and this was the one that actually got TP. So using the higher entry there, it's going to be trade number 3 as a win for 28 points. And you can see, fast forwarding, it does get TP. And there was a short there that got stopped out pretty much to the absolute tick, as you can see right there. So it's going to be trade number 4 as a loss. Okay, now moving on. We had a long setup up here that gets basically TP. However, the short from earlier gets tagged in. Remember, I was saying this one was still waiting to get tagged in. You can barely see the entry, but it's still there. And stop losses for it is up there. But this is the entry, so if this candle taps into the entry, the OG TP was already hit way back there. You'd be looking at one candlestick to the left, and this right here would be the TP. Let's see for how many points that would be. Zoom in here so we can make sure that I'm getting it right. Around the entry there, and it's going to be 21 points if it hits, and 25 points stop like this. So let's see if the short is able to get TP or if it gets stopped out. Looks like it gets TP, so it's going to be trade number 5 as a win for 21 points. Once again, that's an indicator glitch, thinking that it got TP there, but it really didn't. It's still waiting to get tagged in. But if you're just purely relying on the indicator, which you really shouldn't do, you probably wouldn't even seen that short anymore because it said it already got TP. If you're just relying on the indicator, it would look something like this. If I take it out of display status mode, that FEG would not show up anymore because the indicator thinks it already got TP. You would only see the long. Unfortunately, the long did end up getting TP here as well, so it's going to be trade number 6 as a win for 14 points. I'm going to put it back in historical mode now so we can see the long play out. And we're focusing only on this long here. You can see it does get TP almost instantly. And then we have a short setup here that also gets TP, so this one is going to be trade number 7 as a win for 14 points. You can see it does get TP there, and then we have another short setup there that gets formed. Remember, we already have everything to the left. This short looks like it gets stopped out, so it's going to be trade number 8 as a loss. Okay, now moving on, we have another short there that gets stopped out. It's going to be trade number 9 as a loss. And then we have a long setup up here. Let's see if that gets tagged in. It looks like it gets TP. Let's back up so we can see it. So it's going to be trade number 10 as a win for 18 points. Okay, now moving on. We have another short setup up here that is waiting to get tagged in. So you can see it went away again, but it looks like the indicator is actually able to get the right TP this time. So if it wins, it's going to be trade number 11 as a win for 7 points. Let's see if it is able to get TP here. That looks like the right TP. Yeah, that's the right TP. So it's going to be, once again, backing up so we can see it. It's going to be trade number 11 as a win for 7 points using the lowest entry. Okay, now moving on. I think that was the last short setup in this price leg. It's about 3 o'clock here, so you can see there's a long setup there that gets TP for 8 points. So it's going to be trade number 12 as a win for 8 points. Okay, now moving on. We had a short setup here that unfortunately got tagged in right at the end of the day. It gets tagged in right at 3:59. And the 4 o'clock candle is a bullish doji, which means we have to play it where it lies. So if that's the entry, I'm going to zoom in here so I can make sure I get the entry right. You can see the 4 p.m. candle is right here on this right here. So it's going to be trade number 13 as a win for 3 points. And since that is basically the cutoff, it means that trade number 13 is our last trade, so we can tally it up and get our final results. But before I do that, I do want to show that this trade actually did end up winning. Took a little minute, but it did win. And once again, that's unrealistic because no one's really going to hold a trade for aftermarket till 4:30, but it did end up winning. So kind of just an honorable mention just to show that it did end up winning. But yeah, let's go ahead and tally it all up and get our final results. All right, so these would be our final results for the 1 minute TnS. And today it walked away with negative 0.4 R, minus 12 points, and that's with 8 wins and 5 losses today. So pretty much a light red day, something like a kind of break even, but really just a light red day because it's minus 12 points. It did have more wins than losses today, but unfortunately the wins were mostly for negative R. I think we only had 1 win today that was over 1 R, so the losses are going to be more than the wins, even though it did win more than it lost today. But yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for this daily review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.